Hello, what a great style. That's called Lovely Shuffle. And this is a CVP-809. And I'm David Cooper from ePianos. And today we've moved on to the pianos. We've been doing the Genoses and the Tyroses and the SX series. And this is a CVP-809, which is the flagship of the Yamaha Clavinova series. Now, the beauty is because all these keyboards are moving over to a touch screen, that means that most of the things I show you today will also work on the SX 7 and 900. They'll also work on the Genos, and so you can sort of use the same kind of tips I'm going to show you on your instruments as well if you've not got a CVP. If you've got an older CVP, the CVP-609 and 709, the 605 and the 705, they also have the touchscreen. Just things have moved on a little bit, and there's some more sounds, more styles, better key action. They've moved on with all these things. Every few years a new model comes out and we all think there's no way it's going to be any better. What could be different about it? But somehow Yamaha pull it out of the bag, and their models are better and richer sound, more styles that suit the modern music and the old music, and the sounds have been sampled in better ways to give you an even better instrument. So today I'm going to show you some tips on using the CVP series. on the touch screens, and I'm also going to be showing you some of the styles that I use and some of the things that you can do to just sort of while you're playing, make it a bit more user friendly. I don't know if any of you those of you who joined us. Well, okay. Well, thanks to Scott. Thanks for joining us again, Scott from Tyneside. Afternoon, David. Good to see you back. We are back, yes. And Jonathan Mallet. Nice to have you with us, Jonathan. I hope this helps you. Best Ricky. Hi, Ricky. How you doing? Liao Heilong from Indonesia. Good evening. Well, it's good afternoon for us and good evening to you. Dr. O'Herd, 1994. Hello, buddy, David, and greetings from Estonia. Wow. I have a question on the CVP. Can I play back MIDI and MP3 files to or no? Yes or no? Yes, you can. You can play back MIDI files. The beauty of a the beauty of a MIDI file is that you can actually play back up to 16 different tracks, and they'll all be using exactly what the instrument you're playing them back through, sound-wise and style-wise, has within it. Now, if you were using an older model to play in your MIDI files, when you play them back through the moderner instrument, it will sound better because the sounds are going to be the better sounds and styles that are linked to it. So the style will be updated to the nearest version as well. So the beauty is that you can bring your MIDI files from older models and bring them forward. Even from other brands, they'll normally play on a Yamaha. So the idea is you can play your MIDI files. If it's an audio file, MP3 will play on here. The difference with an audio file, it's going to play exactly like whatever you recorded it on. So if it's an MP3 from an earlier model, or it's an MP3 from a recording off the internet, or a band that you've heard, or a CD that you've got, then when you play it back from here, it'll sound almost exactly the same because it is like a live recording. A bit like you've had a microphone, you just held it up to the band. When you play it back, that's what you're hearing back through the speakers, whereas the MIDI files are different. They're the information of what you played, how long the notes stayed down for, and they're going to then play it back through the voices and the effects and things from the instrument you're playing back through. So if you played a MIDI file into this one and recorded it, you could play it back through an older model, but it wouldn't sound as good because the sounds wouldn't be so up to date and so well sampled. So I hope that helps you a little bit. Dr. O'Herd, 1994. It's a great name. I doubt that it might be your date of birth. I don't know. Okay, Best Ricky. Thanks for all these episodes. I'll catch up with the others. Thank you. That's great, Ricky. On USB flash drive for Dr. O'Herd. So if they're on a USB drive, yes, you can bring those in and they will play. You plug the stick in the front or underneath, and then you can load them in through the USB section. Gavin, really looking forward to this. Well, I hope up to expectations, Gavin. I'll do my best. Okay, Stephen Johnson. Hi, David. Haven't got CVP. Just enjoy the live videos. Well, that's great news. Jeff Street. Hi, David. Looking forward to this one. Gavin, Stephen Johnson can really recommend. I'm on the 3rd. Oh, thank you, Gavin. That's nice of you. Well, you can go back and watch them again. That's the beauty of it. And if it's interesting, you found it useful, stick the thumbs up, like underneath the video, and we'll know that a few of you are enjoying it, and we'll try and keep doing it. And again, let us know what you want to learn about and what you want to hear. If there's certain features of the CVP or on the other models that we're going to cover at other times, let us know. Write a little comment underneath the video. Just type it in. If I can read you out, that's great today. And if not, we'll look at it when I can catch up and get up to date with all those. Okay, so hi, Floella, George, and my daughter. Nice to have you watching. Okay, Steve V. I had my new Genos turned up this morning as arranged, and you guys set it all up for me. Thank them from me, please. All looks good. Happy days. Now, if I know I could play it, would be perfect. Well, Stevie, I'm pleased I got to you on time, and enjoy it. And you know we're here. Any questions, get in touch. We'd be pleased to help. So that was Jamie Halliday and Raoul that came to you this morning on our delivery trip today. Good for them. That's great. Terence Parker, back again. Hi, Terence. Michael Harvey. Hi, David. Michael Harvey from Hexham. That rings well. David Tuttle. Good afternoon, David. Weather just gone gloomy in Plymouth. It's a bit overcast, but it's not too bad here. So I'm hopefully going to brighten your day, okay? But I'll do my best. Are some of the CVP voices unique, or are they available on Genos? The Genos came out before the CVP-809, so some of the styles on here will be extra to what's on the Genos. You can get these extra packs now from the Yamaha Music Soft to add to the Genos, but some of the things, because this is so new, it's only about 15 months old, it's still going to have styles that won't have been launched into the keyboard series. Okay, let's keep going through these lists then. They're all adding on still. What have we got to? Hi David and everyone. Sorry I missed the beginning. I will catch it. Well, thanks Michael. Michael Harvey. Dr. Hurd, and I've had a request that you can send the Tipster song on MIDI on my email. Okay, well we'll get that sorted afterwards for you. And you can just listen now. Good afternoon, Malcolm Atkinson. Well, thanks for all joining us. I say do let us know what questions you want. If it's helpful, like the thumbs up. And I'm going to start off by just showing you some of the sort of essentially the basics of this instrument. There's two main areas. If you had a collection of cars, you'd probably park them all in a big garage somewhere. If you had a collection of pianos, you'd probably park them in what's called music piano room on here. So on the panel, if we look on the main panel, that's it. Just to the right of the disc here, we've got a room button that says piano room. And this is where all our pianos would be stored. And we can drag them into the position we want them to be in. So as I come to the screen now, if we go straight to this main screen, you'll see we've got a background and we've got a piano. Now this piano is the Yamaha. If I press the instrument itself, it shows me I've chosen the CFX Concert Grand. I hope my reflections aren't messing too much here. Oh, that's my head. My bulb patch showed. Oh dear. Okay, so we've got the Yamaha CFX Grand, and don't any of you get that bulb patch, take it back and get any shots of it. That's not a good thing. The CFX Concert Grand, and currently the lid's down, but what we can do, when we press on this picture here, we can actually drag the lid up with our finger. And that we even get the reflection of all the strings, which is wonderful. So we can have the strings out in the open, giving us a brighter, louder sound with the sound box open. So if I play that now, don't know how the sound is for everybody. Let me know if it's too loud or too bright. This is the brighter sound, so probably more jazzy. Your sort of brighter sound because we've got the Yamaha lid up. Yamaha instruments generally are brighter. If you go to their clarinets and their trumpets and things, they have a raspier, brighter sound. It's a characteristic of them. If we put the lid down though on the screen here, let's slide it back down again. We can put it halfway, put it right to the bottom. It's going to be a softer sound. And then back up again. Okay, now I'm actually an organ and keyboard player more than piano, so my touch won't be the best to be demonstrating this. I can go through all the functions and things with you, but because I learnt on organ and keyboard, you'll find that I might press a little bit harder sometimes because automatically you've got to press harder on the keys because they're a piano weighted feel keyboard. The travel and the keys on this are much more like a real piano, so you get a longer travel, and the whole pivot effect makes it very accurate to play. And they're wooden keys. On the 805 and the 809, they're both models with wooden keys, which gives you a really good realistic effect. There's a lower model called the 701, which is slightly older in how long it's been out, and that gives you plastic keys. But the 805 and the 809 are going to give you wooden keys that make it a lot more nicer to play, and it does feel beautiful to play. Now we're on the Yamaha Grand. What we do, we touch the picture in the middle here, and then we can choose from the other selection here. Look, so I'm going to go to the next one, which is Studio Grand, Bosendorfer Grand, and the Bosendorfer is they're an Austrian piano making company that Yamaha took over and bought, I'm guessing 5 or 10 years ago, but they've now got the use of all their instruments, and they have brought a lot of their skills into the Bosendorfer. So the Bosendorfer is a mellower sound. If we play the Bosendorfer with the lid down first of all. Now if we put the lid back up, so really, really big sound. Now I'm going to press the instrument again, and this time I'm going to just look a bit further into the other instruments. I don't know how clear you can see. We've got an upright piano. It's quite a different sound. The upright pianos are a much, not tinnier I want to say, but it's a brighter sound. It's a little bit more raspy. It's not going to give you the depth of a grand piano because the strings are going to be shorter, and it won't give you that rich open body sound. If we go to the honky tonk, and then we go to the more electric pianos. We've got a suitcase one, electric vintage one, one of the classic Yamaha electric pianos. Now if we go to the next page, I think we can go further. No, I'm wrong, that is all of them on there. Okay, so we've got the 9 to choose from, but in the top corner we have another feature, and just up here we can go to playing along with other instruments. So I press this top corner, and we've got a little band that turns up on the screen here, and we can choose the kind of beat that we want to play with. So I'm just going to put that back to, let's put it back to just the normal grand for a minute. I'm going to come up to the band on the drum kit, and I'm going to choose a style of music. So I'm going to choose cool jazz club. Okay, I've got my guitarist, my bass player, and my drums, and when I play this triangle here, it starts them off. There's the drums. When I play a chord between my two hands, I then get a style accompaniment to join in. So, and it takes the chord from both hands that I'm playing from. So if I now play again, so it's going to finish it off. So what it's doing is it's taking notes from either hand until they make up a chord. If I play a 3-note chord and then I let go and play just one note, the chord will carry on playing, but the melody will carry on as a single note while that chord backing is staying still. So it allows me to play my piano style music, and as soon as another chord comes in, it changes the band to follow me, and it plays my kind of chord backing to suit my chords. So if I just play a chord now again, there's my F chord, and that's going to keep playing until I play another 3-note or 4-note chords. B flat, F, and that's going to keep playing again. So I'm generally playing with just a bass note with my left hand, and I'm playing the chord with the right, but you can play either hand. As long as those 3 notes or 4 notes you're playing make a new chord, the accompaniment will follow you. So it's very, very clever and great for people who are pianists who have music in their mind or music they want to follow, because you can then get the backing to come through with you without having to play left-hand chords like a keyboard player all the time. Now there's all different styles, so we can go, let's go to middle of the road 16 beat. Okay. And we've got things like blues as well. So if we go into the blues one now, let's try that one. Okay, so blues. Let's finish that one off. Let's start again. So it's following me all the time. Goes on. The difference is it's not waiting for a left-hand chord. You can play wherever you are. So if you're more a piano style person, it's a really good way to use it. Now we can go into other things too. We've got a tap beat here on the screen. We've got tap, and if I tap that 4 times, it shows me the speed that I've made, and then when I start now it will be at my speed. So I've set 111. If I tap it faster, it says 250 and this tap tempo is available on most of the keyboards that Yamaha make now, but it's a very clever way to get the speed that's in your mind. And also when you want to play along with a CD or a backing track or a YouTube channel, then the difference is that you can just tap that and it will match the speed of what you're playing along with. So it's a very good way to follow. We can press this cog down here as well. If I press the cog on the screen, these are your 3 parts of your band. We've got the guitarist and the bass player, and we've got the drummer. So we could turn some of those off. So if I just go back to a different style, let's just go into, okay, we'll go into the bass drum there. We'll put on, this is where you can slide them. So we have 5 pages to choose from of different styles that you can play. So let's go to 60s big hit, okay. And we'll go back into the playing again. As my player, I'll play my chord. Now if I hit the cog, I can turn off the drums, I can turn off the bass and just have guitar. We'll have the bass, and drums. Add the guitar. So there's lots of things you can do just to make it fit with your style of music that you're playing. So very, very good drums in there as well. So that's the piano room. You can either play it with or without the rhythm section, and you can play it with all the different piano room sounds. The other thing we can do, when we're in the piano room, I'll take away the band again. Just go back to a standard piano on the screen. Okay, now what we can do, we can change the room that we're playing in as well. So we're in this room at the moment. If we go to, we're in a concert hall. If we go to stage, then that will change the echo and the reverb. If I go to cathedral, we're going to get loads of echo running around. And that carries on for much longer. I hope you can hear that from the device you're using. And concert hall, lovely echo and a reverb. Or room will be less echo. And off altogether just gives us a flat sound. So we can totally change it, and that changes the picture on the screen as well. So this is the piano room part of the instrument, and then we've got the home section, which takes you back to a little bit like you'd have on a Genos or an SX or standard clavinos before the piano room came into place. So we press the home button on the panel here, and that now takes us back to our main screen. This is where we can see everything. Let's just check if any of you are asking any questions while we've been doing this. Oh, Susie Drager's joined us. Hi Susie, nice to chat to you earlier. Okay, Mike Harvey in Stockton-on-Tees. Any Genos days this week? I'm not quite sure what we've got planned for the rest of the week. I haven't got my schedule, but we will, I'm sure, we'll do a Genos before the end of the week, yes. So if this was not a copyright, what's this, Dr. Heard? I just want to listen. If this was not a copyright MIDI, David. Okay. So if it was a copyright MIDI, you could still use it on your piano. It's only if you're going to take it out somewhere else, I expect, would be the issue. Hi David, we'll probably catch up later as I have a Zoom call starting. You mentioned that. Well, nice to talk, see you joining us, Susie. Okay, so I'm going to go to the screen again now. I'm going to show you a little bit more about how the piano pans out. So on this main screen here, we have the style section on the left, and in this case we've got Lovely Shuffle still selected, and we can go a bit more deeper into the style section if we want to use the screen ourselves. So we've got the screen, we've got all the style section to the left of the instrument, but if I press this little arrow at the top corner here, that then shows me a part of the styles digitally on the screen rather than using the buttons that are further over. So these are my 3 intros, these are my 4 backings, and we can go into start the drums here and stop it again. So we've got the facilities within the screen if we want to use it that way, but we can also go across to the left hand side on this main instrument, and this is all the same, 3 intros and the main variations and things, but there's a few extra buttons that we've got here that aren't on the screen. So this is your area for your drums. Let's just push that across again. In the top right hand corner we press that one, takes it to centralize everything, and then on the right we have our song area. So we hit the arrow in the song area, and that then shows us play, pause, parts, guide, A and B repeat, and that shows us also when we play a song back, this is where we could watch it from. But again, just over on the panel, if we go to the main view, the song area has got buttons on the main control. So it depends if you can let go and go far enough across to make it reachable and be comfortable when you're playing. Sometimes it's just nice to have it all on the screen as we've got. And then to get rid of that again, press the arrow at the top, and that one on the left there, and that then goes back to showing us the main screen. Now along the bottom here we've got all these shortcuts. We've got 2, 4, 6, 8 different shortcuts that are here. One of them is the menu, and that allows you to choose which shortcuts are available all the time from the main screen. So the ones I've got here, I've got the tempo, and I can see the tempo screen. I can use the tap in the middle of the screen here as well, and if I change the speed it changes it, but it always shows me in the bottom corner here the tempo next to my icon. Okay, if we go across to transpose, you'll see I used transpose a few minutes ago, and the transpose panel can be set from the panel on the instrument, or we can go to here and we can go and change the master, just the keyboard, or just the song. So if you're playing along with a song backing track, you might want to transpose the keyboard to match your music so that it's all matchable, or you can play by ear in the key that you like I might do, and you can just set one of them. So you can either move the MIDI file song down to your key, or you could move the keyboard to the key of the MIDI file, depending on, sometimes when you move it on a MIDI file it might take it too high or too low for the MIDI file, so you can change it in wherever you want to do. Let's press close again. Now the next one is your fingering. So if we're playing this as a full keyboard with all the backings and things, and we're not just in the piano room using those particular ones, we can go into fingering on here, and this gives us a choice of where to put the split point. Now the split point generally is the F sharp, it's the 3rd one up. So if we just go to the main piano picture a minute, we've got the 1, 2, the 3rd one up, and this has got a little light above it to show us this is where the split point is on the piano. We've got 88 keys. It's the same as a real piano, 7 1/4 octaves, and this shows us where the split point is. But we can then decide on how we want to play our left hand chords. We can play 1-finger chords, we can play 3 or 4-finger chords, we can have a setting called multi-finger where it will let you switch between the two. So we've got single fingered, we've got multi-finger, which means I can play a 3-note chord if it's set correctly, okay, or I could play a 1-note chord and it will sound the same, but I'm playing a choice, and if I leave it on multi-finger it allows me to jump between those two settings. If we go a little bit further, fingered chord is just going to look out for 3 and 4-finger chords, and then we go to fingered on bass, which means that the bottom note of your chord becomes the bass note that you're going to hear when you're playing, and then we go to full keyboard, which is back to the same way that it was set when we were in the piano room, where it looked out for any 3 or 4 notes and took those notes to be our chord and played the backing accordingly. Okay, so if we go, something else in there as well, we can decide where we want the lower voice to go to. So we can decide on the lower voice, and it might be a different point to the split point. It might be you want to have a sound effect on just the bottom note, so we could take the split point right down to the bottom, or it might be we want the sounds that are in the lower keyboard to go up for your lower voice to a higher point, so you can decide where you want that to be. Okay, let's close that and go on to balance. Balance is really good. Now this is your screen that allows you to mix all your different areas together. We've got our style volume, and we can move it up and down, or once we've made the orange box around it by touching it, we can use the, just go back to the other screen, Charlie, we can use the data wheel, which moves the slider up and down without actually touching it. So the data wheel is a way to just get it a bit more accurate, maybe by there's little notches as you go up through. And then we've got the main voice, the layer voice, we've got the song area, once that's playing back, the microphone volume, and if we get any audio playing, that's going to show us that too there. So you could have an audio input from maybe an iPad or a phone, and that could come through, and you can just set it on here to how loud you want it to be in comparison to what you're playing on the piano, so you can get it to balance right. You don't want it too loud if you're playing along with it, and that's the way that you can adjust it. So it's very easy to go into this. We've got lyrics on here, so if we're using a MIDI file that has lyrics built into it, the lyrics will show on the screen. We can choose the color of the backing, we can choose how big the things are, but we've got the lyrics for a screen. So if it's a MIDI file you've brought in, it may well have words, and they'll block over as you've got to sing them, and you can plug a microphone in. You can even get harmonies on your voice from the microphone plugged in to do with the chords that are playing from the MIDI file. So very, very powerful. Okay, the next one is Bluetooth, and on the Bluetooth one, we're connected at the moment to my phone. Look, it's got David's Galaxy 25G, and it pairs up with whatever you want to pair up to. A lot of people ask us about using Bluetooth for headphones. Now this is a Bluetooth link to have something coming through these speakers. So if we've got a phone or we've got a CD player, whatever we want, something will go through here so that we can have it all through the great speakers on the Clavinova. The thing that you need to remember, if you're using Bluetooth headphones where you're taking the output to a device that's sending to a headphones without any cables, there's going to be an issue here, because headphones that don't have cables, there's a little lag of 1 or 2 seconds while the sound comes from the instrument to the digital headphones. Now, for normal playing, if you listen to music or you're listening to a TV program with Bluetooth headphones, it's not any real issue. But if you're going to be listening to, it might be on a TV actually, but if you're listening to music, it doesn't matter when it starts, because you'll just hear it when it starts in your headphones. If you're playing the piano and you're playing the piano, when there's a lag, whatever you hear will be a second or so later. So it really doesn't really work. So headphones that might have a lag with the Bluetooth headphones, it's best to avoid them and just have a cable and make sure it's not going to get you caught up when you stand up or whatever. So this Bluetooth is for listening to your phone or your iPad through the speakers of the instrument, rather than using it for your headphones. Let's just see if we have any questions then. Okay then, so where did we get to? We got to Susie Drage. Gavin's retracted a couple of messages and put, David, I've learned more about Piano Room in 20 minutes than I discovered in 15 months. Well, that's great. I'm pleased that I've helped you, Gavin. And if you've got any more questions, maybe you've got one coming up after that, then certainly do let us know what they are. And for people who've got the CVPs, they are a brilliant instrument. The CVP-809 and 709 has the same kind of layout as this. There's just a few extra features, better sounds, better keyboard action. So the higher you go, the newer you go, the better it's going to be. If you've got a previous model, this will be a lot better in sound and touch and facilities and styles, because they've modernised it. They've added new technology. Kevin said, I think it would be good to have a demo on Smart Pianist on the 809 too at some time. Well, I can't do it today, but that's a good idea. We can certainly go through some of the things that Smart Pianist does. Okay, so we've got my phone connected, and we could now use that. It's in the other room actually, but we could use that to play a backing track that I can join in with, and that's really good fun. It's a bit like playing in a band. For every of you who've already done that and play with other musicians, it's really good fun to be part of a unit with different instruments and things coming in. So what you can do with the Bluetooth link is you could have a jazz band or an orchestra or something playing, and you can play over the top either by ear or get the music, and that's a great way to join in. And the beauty of the song area on here, if we go now to the screen and go to the song area, is that's exactly what Yamaha have realised, that people want to play along with other music. And this is a song area of MIDI files. I don't think in the audio there's any built-in ones, because of probably a copyright. But in the MIDI area, if we just go back to where we were, we've got some different areas of built-in music that is here to play along with or to listen to. So if I go to 50 popular, we've got different categories along the top. and some of them have more than one page. So if we were to go to, let's have a look, we've got Hallelujah on the first page, and we can now play Hallelujah if I press the play button. Now I can also have the music. Just pause that for a minute. So if I now go to back to the main screen and I go to score, the one I missed, score will actually show me the music for the songs that are in this instrument. We've got quite a lot of glare. I'm sorry it's quite bright here. I don't think I can make it any clearer, but hopefully you can see that. And we can change the size on here. If there's a little note here, and I can make it bigger size so we can see more on the screen. If you look on the top here, these are the chords. And for those of you, if I perhaps tilt that slightly here, might be a little bit better. We've got F, D minor, F, D minor. So we can follow along the chords and play with the sound of our choice. And that allows us to be able to join in with the music. So this is Hallelujah. I've not played it, but I can follow the music. So let's play it. Let's put a piano sound on. And I can join in here, F chord, C chord. Like a melodies, or put some strings on maybe, or vocals. It's a great sound. Okay, let's try another vocal sound. So, classical choir. Have the boys' choir. Okay, F. Okay, so you get the gist of it. We've got the music on the screen. We can play whatever we want to play along with it, and it will keep going, but we can join in with the sound of our choice. So I changed it from a piano to a violin to a choir, and we can just fatten out the song and get a really sort of big sound to join in with. So that's a really good feature. Now there's another part to this. If we just take it back to the piano a moment, and we go back into our score here, I think we do it from the score. We can press this cog here, and this tells us about the channels. That's not what I wanted for. This note here has the left and the right. We can see what we want on the screen. We can even color code it so the notes come in different colors, and it'll tell us what note we want on the screen as well. So there's lots of things you can adjust, but there's also a feature called guide. I've got to find out where it is. So this is the guide here, look, and if I take out the right hand and choose the guide, and I'm just going back to the beginning of the song again, and we'll start it playing. Has it kept that? Yeah. And it's now waiting for me to play the melody. Okay, I believe. And whoops. So if you see from the main screen, the other one, that's it. Hopefully now you can see that, can we see the full piano a minute, Charlie? When I'm playing the notes, there's a light above the note that tells me what to play. And if I stop, it waits. Now the other way to do this is if you kind of want it to just keep going and you try and keep up with it, we can slow it down if you want, but the idea is that it won't wait for exactly every note every time. So what we can do on this is we can set it so that the guide isn't on this time, but it will still miss out the right hand melody. So now when I play, we'll do it again. So I can play whatever I want, perhaps the melody. But if I stop, it carries on going. And we can see the lights if we want them. So a really, really good feature, and it allows us to have a band in the background or some of the musicians. We've got the choirs coming through, and it's really, really good fun. But it means that you're getting the effect of a duet with somebody else, or playing along with a band, or playing along with some of your favourite music. And the choice of music in this area is really good. If we go back to the song area, we can go through and we can see we've got pop songs. We've got pop songs from Wonderwall, Fields of Gold. We've got Billie Jean, Dancing Queen, down to Hey Jude, the Beatles stuff, La Bamba. So a really good choice. If we go to the next one, standards, we've got Moon River, we've got What a Wonderful World, and they're all in this same format that you can play. We could have played the left hand as well, actually, so we've actually got a choice of following the left hand or the right hand, or keeping the backing going. You play both hands if you wanted to, but it allows us to be getting inventive and playing the notes either with the weight or without the guide waiting for us. We've got a folk section. We've got Scarborough Fair, Amazing Grace, Danny Boy, Whiskey in the Jar. We've got holiday and events like Auld Lang Syne, White Christmas, and we've got children's music like Old MacDonald Had a Farm. And they're the sort of popular music set that are in there. There's quite a few to choose from. I think there's about 40 or 50. Now if we go, in fact there's more than that, there's 50 or 60. If we go to the 50 classics, the next one along, we've then got classical music, and these are available to play, and we've got duets that we can join in with. So play a piano duet with the piano playing the other part, which is great. We've got original pieces. We've got fur release, and we can do the exactly play fur release. Look, we can press the play button, and then go to score, and we could do the guide just the same. And it follows me. Okay, so it's a really good feature. It's worth having a look at it, and it's on all of the CVP models. The same guide feature is actually in Genos and SX, and you can press the direct access button to go into the song area, and you can set it up so that it does that guide and it waits for you to play the next notes. There's not as many songs built into the keyboard range, there's only 4 or 5, but it gives you the opportunity to do that, follow the note. And something else you could do is you could get or do it yourself. You could record into the instrument something that you've played, and then the keyboard would let the guide facility be available for somebody else to come and play that same song. So you could have a friend record some songs that they play that you don't, and then you could use the music on the screen, would come up even for songs that they've played, and you could then follow the notes one by one and learn intricate stuff. So it's a very, very good feature, and that's the song feature on Clavinova. So from the main screen, it's on the right hand side, and we can see we've got choices. Now there is one more feature on the screen, and that's called lesson. Now there are loads and loads of lesson study books that you can buy. There's Hanon, and if we go into the MIDI, the lesson page, we've got them all in here. They're older books now that would have been used for lessons, probably before lessons got a bit more exciting, and they're studies that would not be quite so fun to play perhaps, but they're quite good for learning touch, and they're the sort of thing that you'd have been given by your piano teacher to do exercises and to learn to play better. So there is Bayer, Bergmuller, Cerny 30, Hanon, and these are all going to be different piano exercises. If we go to Hanon number 1, let's see what that looks like on here. Score. It's very straightforward. But we can use this. It's all built in free with the Clavinova, and it allows you to go in, and you could do that with one hand or both hands. Gets your finger moving, get your exercise, and it's a good way to get started before you maybe play, to get them all exercised up. So those studies are all in here as well, and it's a great way to build up your confidence in playing. Let's just check your messages here, see if anyone wants to correct me, my iPad's just gone off here for a software update. Let's see if that affects what I'm going to turn it. No, we're okay. You're all still here. Okay, Gavin, and that one. Stephen Johnson, will registrations made on Genos work on CVP? They don't work on CVP. They are a different system. But there is actually a really good website. I think it's called PSR Tutorial, and you can download a manager for converting styles from different ranges. So you can, not styles, registrations. So if you were to go to PSR Tutorial, or I think if you Google PSR Tutorial convert style registrations, it will allow you to put each registration in, and it will convert them so that they work on a different product. So yes, if you've got a Genos and you have a clavinova, you could convert your Genos registrations to work in a CVP piano, which is a great way to be able to do it. Okay. Hi David, Rollinston Gomes, nice to have you with us again, Rollinston. What keyboard? So this is for those who've just joined us, this is the CVP-809. This is the polished ebony and the high gloss finish. There is also a 805, and that's got a lower spec, smaller speaker range, and it's not going to offer you the same amount of sounds in every section, but both the models are excellent. The speakers on this are amazing. You won't get it quite from an iPad or a computer, but the speakers on here are full set underneath, and that gives me a really good experience. Okay, when is the Genos SX900 live, please? Well, I'm sorry it's not good for you, Rollinston. We'll be doing more later this week. I think we've got some planned for tomorrow and Friday still. Okay, but we will show them. This is the other thing. If you like these videos, with YouTube, you need to subscribe to our channel. So if you look to the left-hand side of our thing, you can go to subscribe. And if you get the subscribe set up, that means that every time we're going to do a new video, you'll get a notification. And because we're not sending out to everybody every time we do a video, you might not get an email from us. But if you're on the YouTube subscription, you can subscribe to the ePianos channel. That means that from now on, you'll get to hear of every one we're doing, and you can decide whether to opt in or out. And we'll give you an hour or two's notice and tell you what we're going to cover. So do go to the YouTube website, subscribe to the ePianos channel, and that means that we'll give you a notification whenever we come in with something. So that's well worth doing. Best Ricky, where did you get all these songs MIDI files from? So they're all built into it, Ricky. The clavinovas give you a large selection of MIDI file songs. You can find MIDI songs on the internet. Some of them are fantastic, some of them are much more suited to other instruments and don't really split the melody up in the same way. So there are MIDI files where you can download them for free. You have to be careful sometimes of things that might come along with them that you don't want, but you can buy MIDI files. Yamaha, I'm sure, sell them on their MusicSoft website. I believe they still have that available, and you can buy batches of MIDI files that would suit the Yamaha instruments and split the chords from the melody. That's really what you want. You want to be able to see the left hand and the right hand in the right channels so that they show up on the music, and the chords then come through at the same time. Okay, let's see what anyone else has put. Tony V, hi Tony. Is the lesson tab available for 709? Yeah, it's all in there. 709, exactly the same. I'm not sure about all the studies. I think they were there, and if not, I have a feeling that you might better find out about this myself. But I have an unusual feeling that you might be able to get the lessons off of the Yamaha website if they're not in your instrument, and that would probably mean that if you've got a keyboard, you possibly could download the studies, the more intricate study patterns. I have a feeling they might be on the Yamaha website to download and put into your clavinova if it's an earlier model. But don't quote me on that. I'd have to check on that for you. Okay, how do you use the Wi-Fi on CVP? So the Wi-Fi, this is for Tony V, the Wi-Fi is available to link it straight up to the MusicSoft website from Yamaha, and that would then allow you to bring files straight into the instrument. I'm not a big user of the Wi-Fi with the clavinovas. I don't think there's such a importance to it, but you could link it up to app. If you've got an app that you're using, like the Smart Pianist, which we'll go through in more detail, the Wi-Fi will give it a direct link, and that makes it better. Okay, Michael State, very helpful and interesting insight into the hidden secrets of the clavinova. Thanks, David. Thanks, Michael. Thank you very much. And Tommy, hi Tommy. Can you add more songs on Genos to use the score guide? Can you add more songs? So any song that you record into the Genos, that score and that guide is available. Same on SX, same on Tyros 5, Tyros 4, Tyros 3. So you can use that same thing, and the guide facility is there to be able to go back to a song. Now, if you've got somebody who's recorded a MIDI file, or you've bought a MIDI file with songs that you want to play on, you can use that guide to follow the notes. So that would be available to you, definitely. No problem there. Okay, let's just see who I've missed. John from Northwich, this is really interesting. Never realised you could do so much. There's so much, and this is the thing. People are scared to press buttons, and I think you've just got to be a little bit ruthless and just go for it. You can do a reset. We'll go through resets in a minute if you wanted to, but the reset would put it back to how it ought to be from the factory. So if you press something and set something wrong, you can go back in again. So it's worth being a bit intuitive, a bit looking out for these things. Okay, David McKellar. Hi, David. How soon will the CVP-809 be available? Well, the CVP-809s have been slower recently because of the COVID availability. We are getting them through now. We've got a few coming through for people who have pre-ordered them. They've been taking 2 or 3 months to come through. I think at the moment, depending on the colour you choose, I think white might be available at the end of September, and then I think that the blacks are probably October and November, so they're just a little bit away, but you just be patient. They're worth waiting for. And we part exchange. If you wanted to buy one of these, we would buy your old one back, and we're agents for Yamaha on this model, so we can supply this model. It's a Yamaha deal with the agent to supply it on their behalf, and we can buy your part exchange and make sure you get fantastic service and be at the end of a phone or a video or a live chat to be able to help you with understanding the functions to suit your method of playing. Okay, so yes, they are available, and we can take orders for these straight away if you wanted to. Okay, so Tom is saying, can you have more songs as to what you've just shown us on CVP? So all the songs that are in this model are copyrighted from Yamaha for this model, but you can buy more MIDI files and put them into it. I think that's what you mean, Tommy. And anything you play can become a MIDI file that would then be available to guide in the same way. Okay, Scott from Tyneside. So I was on the move, but still had sound and keyboard sounding fantastic. On the move and still listening. Well, thank you. That's very good, Scott. Thank you. Best Ricky, what was the best website for best quality MIDI files? I've no idea, Best Ricky. I'm sorry. I don't know where you would go for MIDI files. You could Google. I think that the paying ones are probably going to be better than the ones you just download for free that might give you some virus or something. You've got to be a little bit cautious with these free files. Hallelujah version. Thanks, Scott. William Forsdyke. I purchased an 809 last October and absolutely adore it. They are wonderful. Yeah, they're brilliant instruments. Say the availability is a little bit slower at the moment because all the factories are having to distance, and that's meant that things have been a little bit slower coming through. But we've got a lot of these on order for customers. We've got 5 arriving on Friday for customers that pre-ordered, and they're starting to come through a bit better now. So that's really good news. Okay, so I've covered a bit more of the questions there. If I've missed you, I'm really sorry, but I will go back through them at the end. So we're going to go through to some of the things in the menu now. If we just see the main screen and press the menu button, this has 2 pages of things that you can go in and adjust. We've got the tempo, transpose, split facility, chord. There's a chord tutor. If we press this button, this is on Tyros and Genos and SX. We can see all the names of the chords, and we can see how to finger a certain chord, the optional notes, and it shows us on the stave what it looks like. So that's a really good feature. And even for these more advanced chords that I've never heard of, we can go in and see what they would be like. So if you're using a busker book or something, we can follow the chord symbol and look for the way that it's done on here. Come back out of there. So we've got the balance that we've got down at the bottom anyway here, and the mixing desk is for things that are plugged in like microphones, and we can change the EQ, and we can go into different parts of the song. So if we go to song parts here, this is quite a good one. We can actually voice something. So if we were playing a MIDI file back, we could change the voice of something. And if we just go back to one of those earlier ones, let's just go, I'm going to jump back a second to the songs. If we just go to the 50 popular songs and go to Fields of Gold, there we go. And I'll come back out and go back into the menu and select Mixer. This area here now shows me the channels in Fields of Gold. So we've got the melody channels, which are the 1 to 8, and we've got the backing channels, which are the accompaniment section. We've got the drums here, look, we've got guitars, and we've got the piano. So when we're playing back a MIDI file, this again will work on Genos and SX and earlier CVPs too. We can go in and we can rejig the voices in the backing or in the melody. So if I play this start now, we can see what's playing. Look, we've got the guitar playing. Now when the melody starts, it will probably be on the first channel. Let's wait for the melody. Here we go. And this one starts now. I'm going to touch the piano picture and I'm going to choose a different sound. So I'm going to go to flugelhorn. Or let's go to an oboe. So now I've changed it to an oboe. Come back out. And it's now showing me the oboe. So we've changed the sound that's coming back out from the MIDI that's playing back, and we've got 16 different channels. The 9 to 16 are our accompaniment channels, and 1 to 8 are our melody channels and all the parts that are coming in. So if we do that again, we'll go to song channel 9 to 16, and when we play now, I'm going to change the actual drum kit that's being used. So let's select it. These are my drum kits that I can choose between. I can even go to world percussion and things, but I'm going to put the music back on. I'm not sure how well you can hear me when it's playing, but I'm going to play it, and I'm just going to change the drum kit. So we're changing the drum hip hop kit. That's a bit nice. Let's change some more. Change that sound. Flute now. Let's go to the next channel. Got the piano here. Let's put on vocal. So it allows me to totally change all of the parts of that MIDI file. And even though it's a preset MIDI file within the instrument, when it's playing back, we can change it to suit our ears. We can even take parts out. So let's just do that one more time. We'll play it. And I can turn the channels off. So let's turn off some of the accompaniment section. Oh. Just leave the drums. My flute now, and there's my drums, another kit here. Turn these back in, they're not doing a great deal, and we can see when they have turned on working. So you can totally strip back a song that's playing, and then you could play that part yourself, whether it's the drums on the manual percussion or the piano part, and we can join in with it, and it's really good fun. So do have a look at that. Have a look on your keyboards and on your pianos. Strip back from the mixing console the song parts and leave in the ones you want to still hear, and then you can join in yourself with the piano part. You can transpose it to a key you want to use that might match a piece of music you have, or you can get the screen showing you the music if it's one of the MIDI ones off of here. So that's a really good feature and one I would recommend you try. Okay, let's just go back to the home screen again. We're going to menu, and we go a little bit further because we've done the mixer, we've done score. I don't know whether they had vocals to that, so let's have a look. Sometimes they have got vocal tracks. Yeah, here we go. So when we start playing this song now, I've got rid of all the tracks, but you've now got the words coming up, and when it plays through, it will show us the words as they're being sung. Let's just put the tracks back on again. So if we put them back on mixer. Okay. And then we go back in there again. Here we go. I'm not going to sing. And we've got the chords, so we can just play along. Okay, it gives you an idea. So yes, you can do that. It's a really good feature, and I'd recommend you get into the song area, take out some of the parts and join in with it. It's really good fun. Okay, so we're just going to go now to the last page. If we go from the menu to the second page, I'm going to press this right hand arrow and that takes me to the second page, and we've got a feature at the end here which is on all the keyboards and all of the Genoses and SXs, and even on Tyros as well. I can press this utility spanner, and there's some really good features in here that I want to show you. So we've got speaker connectivity. Now if you're playing with headphones, it might be you're going through some of the speaker outputs and the headphones will cut out the speakers, or they won't cut out the speakers. So this allows you to have the headphones switched off, or if I go to this one, I'll be able to hear the sound coming through, and you'll hear it double through the mic because the speaker plug-in won't be cutting out the speakers. So this is a way that we can, on a keyboard, we can set it so that the sound still comes out and you can still listen through the headphones at the same time. If we go down to the next one down, it's called touch screen display, and this allows us to have, when I change the sound, you can probably hear it go tick tick, so we can have it on or off, and there's no sound when I go from things, and now it's back on again. And I've got brightness of my screen here. I can set the brightness to suit where I'm playing it and how much screen brightness, and how bright the button lamps are. I can make those a bit dimmer as well. So if you're playing at night and you want to just soften it all down, then you can do that. Okay, and we can go down from here to more things. The home theme, we can actually change the display on the screen. So if we go to here, we can change it to white, close, and that will then change the main display when we come back out again to this first screen, which might have been easier for Charlie. It might be too bright. Okay, let's go back to the spanner again, and we'll change it to, let's try the piano one a minute. Got one saying, oh, piano is where we were, I think. Yeah, that's where we were. And let's try it on the third one, which is black. So home theme, black, close. And that's the very dark with no sort of nice pictures in there. So we've got a, that's my phone because I've Bluetoothed it and it's given me a message by text. So I'm going to turn my Bluetooth off, and that means that won't come through anymore. Sorry about that. Okay, so if we now go back to menu and go into utility, we've done touch display. Well, we can do other things here too, but they're the main things I want to show you. If we go to parameter lock, this is a really good feature which we've talked about on the keyboards before. And parameter lock means that whatever you're bringing in through registrations and settings from within the instrument, it can lock certain features that you don't want to change. And once you've put them how you want them, the lock will retain that setting even if you bring in other registrations and settings from elsewhere. So the two that I tend to use the most is split point and fingering. And if we put these two on, that means that even if I bring registrations in that have got different settings from other people who play, who might have a split point in a lower or higher position for their chords, or their fingering type might be the piano style or 3-finger chord style, we can lock it, and until we go back into this page and change it, it won't make any difference. There's only one way that it would change, and that is if you do a reset, it might change it in the reset, system reset, and it might just take those back out again. Master EQ always stays on, but these two here might be taken off when we do a reset, and you might need to just go back in and set your split point and your fingering and then lock them back into place. But I would leave that on in most of my keyboards I'm playing, because it means that even if you use someone else's registrations, it will lock it in the setting that you want. Okay, so that's parameter lock. Next one down is storage. It just shows me that I've got a 2 gig capacity, which is huge in here for storing my information, and the I've only used 0.01 of the gig, so I haven't used much at all. System is where you can do see what version we're on. 1.04. I hope that's the right one I've just shown you, but this shows you the version of this system that we're using, the operating system. And it's sometimes worth checking with the Yamaha website and just going into operating system, Yamaha CVP-809 or your model, and then you'll see whichever one you can download just to make sure it matches the version you've got. Make sure you've got the latest version, and if it's a higher number, it's always worth uploading the firmware version to the right one that's the newest, because it might mean that a memory stick you buy won't work unless you've updated the keyboard to recognize the later memory stick, or it might just be they've made some changes that will improve the instrument's playability. One of the things they did with Genos, which was really great, was they added some new features from the firmware update, and that also included something called Chord Looper, which wasn't on Genos when it was launched. Chris went through it, in fact, only yesterday, but it allows you to bring in some new changes that Yamaha have realized they can add just from a firmware update that you can take off their website, unzip it, put it on a memory stick, and then load it into your instrument. Okay, we've got language on here on the screen, Charlie. We've got the owner name. We can put our name in here, type it in, David's, and then everyone knows whose it is, and it's quite fun. So you can go in and I won't do it now. We can change all that, and we can put the owners, and that comes on when you turn it on. It shows you the owner, which is quite fun. Okay, now this is the other thing, auto power off. Now this is again available on the keyboards. They're set to turn themselves off for saving electricity after a certain amount of time. It defaults to 30 minutes, and if you want to change that, you can turn it off altogether by turning the instrument on with the very bottom note. This will work on Genos, SX, Tyros 5. So when you turn the instrument on, if you're holding down the bottom, very lowest bottom note, that will mean that the auto power will be either disabled or enabled, and it will show you on the screen when it turns on whether you've got that enabled or disabled. But this is a way that in the system area that we can go in and tweak that. So if we want the power off to be 10 minutes after we stop playing, it might be we always forget to, my partner forgets to turn the tap off in the downstairs toilet. With this one, if you forget to turn it off when you go and have some food, you can actually set it so that in so many minutes, between 5 up to 120, it will just turn itself off, and that will save you electricity, but it also means that it won't just be left on, and so we can set the time there, and we can disable it on this page as well. Okay, and the final one is factory reset. I want to show you, and these are all in the utility area, and they'll be in also the keyboards that you have at home as well. And this shows me that the factory reset is currently set to system. So if I do a factory reset now, it will just put all the levels back. It won't delete files or anything. It will just put everything back to where Yamaha set it as default when it left the factory. And that will include the balances, it will include the tuning, the tremolos and the digital effects and things. It will put them back to where Yamaha feel they ought to be. But if you want to leave them exactly how they are, sometimes when I go to play and you think something doesn't sound quite right, and it might be that someone else has been playing it and set something within the instrument a little bit different. So you can do a top note reset, and that is doing the same as just system. And the way we do that is we turn the instrument off, we hold down the very top note, and we turn it back on again, and it takes about 15 seconds for it to initialize, and it will say along the top of the screen, it will say initializing setup, and that just means that it will put everything back to the levels. It just syncs it back to how it would have been and how Yamaha would expect you to want it. If you've got loads of your settings already in there and you think it's okay, don't bother, but you can do that. And if you think you've got a fault with it, or there's something not quite right, like computers, these can just have a little blip where the style's silent or the third voice doesn't sound, and by doing that top note reset, just holding that down, turning the keyboard on again, that will just put it all back to how it should be again. Okay, we're running out of time here. Let's just have a quick look at your messages. Okay, so where do we get to? Tyneside of Hallelujah. What is the best antivirus to use on Yamaha keyboards when downloading? I've no idea, Scott. I'm sorry, I'm not into the antivirus stuff. Yamaha have got a very good helpline, which is run by Daniel Watts and Dusty and Steve Marsden, and you can call that for anything kind of computer-based questions, and the number is 0345 811 116. So if you've got kind of computer link, virus, all these type of questions, they're probably best to answer them more than us, because they're getting them every day, you know, and they're getting involved with these kind of link ups to computers and these recording devices and things. So yeah, Dusty and Daniel Watt and also Steve Marsden are manning that on that number. You can go in and get some really good advice that we might not know, because we're just a humble music shop. Okay, G Campan, got a lot of MIDI files I created on my Music Tech SS software. Okay, I'm not familiar with that. Can I use 809 accompaniments to add them to my MIDI files without having to actually play the 809's keyboard along with my MIDI files? So you could change the style within a MIDI file. There's a feature which I'm not going to go through now, but called Style Creator. In the menu section, we've got Style Creator and Song Creator, and that would allow you to change a part of the MIDI file, and you could put a different style in there. So that would be a way that you could do that. Okay, Rolling Stone, thanks for answering my question, David. Another question. Now we're going to do one per person. I have another question. If we download MIDI file songs, will the learning feature work? Learning feature work, I expect this. So yeah, if we download any MIDI song, you can use the guide and it will work on either hand and on any of the tracks, and it will wait for you, or you can just take the track out and play it, and you can also go in and, just like we did on here, change any of the voices on any of those 16 tracks. So yes, that's a great feature, and it will work on the keyboards too. Scott Tyneside, go on David, some singing. Every time, Scott, every time. No, I'm not going to sing, and especially with my sore throat. I've been shouting a bit too much at the weekend, but we won't go into that. Okay, Stephen Johnson, yes David, perhaps the frog song. Yeah, thanks very much. Okay, what is the best way, John Beckingham, hi John, nice to have you with us. What's the best way to remove scratch marks on my keyboard without using detergent? Well, to be honest, I would use T-Cut. T-Cut is great for, it's just a mild abrasive. Get some on the end of a little duster and just go forwards and backwards on the keyboard keys. Try not to get down the side of the keys, but T-Cut is a really good abrasive that will just go on the top and just try and get the scratches out. So I would say that's a good way on the keys to get that out. The only thing I don't know, and I'm being, this is great for plastic keyboards. I'm not sure on the modern ones like the 809s where they've got an ivory capping on them, whether that's good or not. Well, you can get keys replaced, obviously, and they're not too expensive. But certainly on all the keyboards, SX, Genos, Tyros, a little bit of T-Cut from your car polish and just go up and down on the keys would be fine, just to take that little scratch out the top. And as long as you're doing it carefully, I think you'll be quite safe with that. Okay, and is the 0345 cost a phone? Because it's an 035, that's a local call charge, so you'll be fine to use that, and it'll just be a local charge. But they're very, very helpful there. The guys at Yamaha are excellent. Okay, well, I covered everything I want to cover in that respect. I was going to go through loads and loads of styles with you, so I'm just going to go through 5 styles today, just to finish off and give you an idea of some of the other stuff. So I haven't really played the keyboard very much, and I know if you'd like to hear some of the stuff on it. So if we go into the style section, and we just go into the first section I've got here, we use Lovely Shuffle. That was a great style, and it's ideal for Isn't She Lovely? Intro number 2 is great to get that beginning with the toms. But if we go into the break button, we get a really nice sort of stop in the middle, and that's a really good setting. On the one-touch settings, now on the far end of this keyboard, over the right-hand side, we've got a light next to the 4 one-touch settings called OTS Link. Now, it's a bit strange because on a keyboard like a Genos, this button here is over on the, sorry Charlie, on the other side. So this OTS Link button is the same as you get below above intro 2. And that gives you a link to the ABCD variations with the 1, 2, 3, 4 registrations of the one-touch setting. So on this model, on the far right, you need to turn it on. It comes on here. And now when I press the A button, number 1 comes on, B, number 2, C, number 3, and 4. So it couples them up and makes you get a really good sound. So the first sound is the harmonica. Now the next one, piano, and then we've got the third one, and I think we've got more voices now. We've got wire lead, and the last one is the band horns and vocal, badaya. So yeah, it's a good setting. Okay, so that's really good one to show you. Let's go to another one, and we'll try. What else we got here? If we go into country and blues, country songwriter is nice. This is sort of, I think this is the Natalie Imbruglia one. Let's just put intro 2 on. Now I'm just going to change this because it's set at the moment to playing the full keyboard, and I tend to play on the different settings. So I'm going to go into split and fingering, and I'm going to just change it back to multi-finger, and that will suit my playing now. So it's not that one actually, it's an Irish one. What's it called on here? Let's just see if we can find it. Pop and rock, Irish folk song. Here we go. Irish folk pop, and this is great for Torn. And we've got intro 3 as well. And the first one's better. So that's got a good setting. I like that backing. That's a nice one. Let's just go into a couple more. Then we've got Sky Pop. Now this is great for things like Coldplay. If we put intro 2 on. Can't play the Coldplay song, but you can get the idea of it. And if we just go to a couple more of these, we've got things like, let's just go to 80s synth pop. Now you'll recognise this one. Bit of soft cell. Start with the minor chords. Better with the minor chords. It's a great one. Let's try this. 80s teen disco. US. Bit of Billy Joel there. So it's really good styles, and they're worth going through them and fiddling with them. And there's just a few, but and we're going to do some more of these styles in other shows to give you an idea of how they vary. But they're all very, very well orchestrated. So I'm going to do one more here. There's a really good country one, and it's ideal for Norah Jones, if I can find it. Country ballad, easy country ballad. And I'll finish with this. This is Norah Jones, Don't Know Why. I'll just check there's no more messages to sort out for anybody. Yeah, T-Cut's available. You're all helping each other, I can see. Okay. Thanks for your performance. Excellent. Best Ricky. Dennis Noble. T-Cut is a polishing compound. Also heard from Halfords. Other shops are available. And yeah, it's just ideal just to take the sort of scratches out on the top of the surface, but don't go too far. And I wouldn't use it on the ones that have got the cappings on like ivory, because they're probably a different finish. But certainly on the plastic keys of a keyboard, then they'd be perfect for that. Car shops and garages, even Asda or Tesco sell it. Well, there's everywhere now. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for joining us. I'll just finish off with Norah Jones. Remember, we do sell Clavinovas. We do buy in the part exchanges. If you've got an older model, if you want to go from a keyboard that's got the soft keys to a nice piano feel keyboard. The beauty of these is that the bottom keys are heavy action, the top keys are much lighter, because on a real piano the effort to play the strings is different, and that adjusts the way that the keys feel. So the key feel is different all the way up the keyboard. And we do offer really good part exchange allowances, and we give you fantastic backup service. We're here to help you. If you've had good backup service, let me know it's worked for you on the questions and answers, and put the thumbs up like if you've enjoyed it today. We'll be doing more on the Clavinovas in the future, live streams that we're doing. And remember, if you want to get to know about the live streams in advance, because we're not sending out emails every time to bombard you with loads of emails, and just sign up for our YouTube. You can subscribe to us, ePianos, and then you'll get to know about them. Okay, let's finish off with Don't Know Why, and thanks for watching. Hope you found something useful today, and we'll see you again soon. Have a good day.